What is up, guys? Welcome back. Another video here on the Fantasy Fellowship channel. My name is Kyle. In this video, we're looking at the Green Bay Packers official pre-draft visits. This is an article that I linked in the description below. It's by PackersWire.USA today. We got Zach Cruz on the article here. Really good stuff. If you guys don't know Zach Cruz, I think this is his Twitter link. I would hope so. Let me check his Twitter link out here. But really good follow here, Zach Cruz on Twitter. Go ahead and follow him for all your Packer updates. But I think in this video, I kind of just wanted to just show you guys who the Packers have brought in for visits. There's a ton of receiver talk, of course, for sure. And as I record this, it is April 14th. Packers signed Sammy Watkins, so that does have some draft implications as well. But what we'll do in this video, I just want to show you guys what's going on. And we'll also, I just want to pull up actually the PFF simulator so that I can show you guys essentially what the PFF grades are on these players here. Let me go ahead and just get that draft started. So without further ado, let's get into it. The official pre-draft visits for the 2022 NFL Draft Green Bay Packers style here. And the first player on the list here, this must have been the very first player that had in for visits. It's edge rusher Sam Williams out of Ole Miss here. So he is 6'4", 261. He's got an RAS of 9.55, which is pretty insane. So RAS is relative athletic score. Not anything in the nines is like really good. A guy that tested off the charts last year, a guy like Eric Stokes comes to mind. His stats last year: 12.5 sacks, 15.5 tackles for loss. 4 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, first team all SEC. And the scouting report here says Williams gets off the ball quickly with an explosive first step and is able to hit top speed instantly, showing great burst to get to the quarterback. With his speed, he's able to beat offensive tackles to the corner. He's a bendy edge rusher that does a great job of converting speed to power. So if you're asking, why do we need edge rusher? Well, we technically need some help there. We do have some good ones, at the top of our depth chart in Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. But after that, it's really weak. We have Jonathan Garvin, Tipa Galea, Randy Ramsey, Ladarius Hamilton. We don't have a third and fourth pass rusher. So for us, we need more boost there. I think there is an opportunity here with Sam Williams. Let's actually go look and see what he's got for a grade here. So Sam Williams, PFF saying he's got an ADP of 108, rank of 131. If we click on him, again, his big board rank is 131. His stats, giving him a solid grade here. This is like a nice rotational grade here. Again, 13 sacks last year, and he's going to basically line up outside the tackle. So he's going to be that bendy edge rusher here for the Packers. I like the 40 hurries. That's a lot. So he didn't get really all the sacks that you wish to see, but 40 hurries, 8 hits. Some really good numbers here. So Sam Williams, edge rusher, excited to see if we can get him maybe in the 3rd or 4th round. Let's keep it moving here. Here's what you all came for. Treylon Burks, the exciting wide receiver from Arkansas, 6'2", 225. His RAS is bad. It's a 5.76, but you're talking about a guy here. Here's their scouting report. He's built like a running back and moves like one with the ball in his hands. The Arkansas wide receiver is a terror in space. He averaged over 9 yards after the catch this season and is a load to take down for defensive backs. You're talking about a guy here that is the size of A.J. Brown. We're talking, shredded A.J. Brown, 6'3", 200-some pounds, and he's a slot receiver. That's what I love about Treylon Burks here. Now, where he fits in the Packers depth chart, of course, we just signed Sammy Watkins. We have Allen Lazard. Well, guess what? Randall Cobb is our starting slot receiver, followed up by Amari Rodgers. I think we all could agree that that's less than adequate, especially as we're trying to replace Devonte Adams, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. It's a lot of work to do. So we've already, essentially to replace Devonte Adams, we're going to need 2 or 3 guys to do so. So Watkins is one part of the rotation. Getting a guy like Treylon Burks, maybe putting him in the slot. I think a big slot receiver for Rodgers. And if you watch Treylon Burks' tape, one of his most common negative traits that I see among draft talk is saying that he can't separate, he can't beat single man press coverage, which I agree. Like that is one of his things that he needs to work on. But you have to admit, if you can scheme him in the slot to be a guy that's running some drag routes and doing some horizontal stuff, or find ways to get him going vertical, he is a load to take down. They're talking Deebo Samuel type stuff. So Treylon Burks, really fun receiver here. Now we got another receiver, Tyquan Thornton. Actually, before I get to Tyquan Thornton, I'll introduce that in a second. Let me actually just pull up Treylon's his score here from PFF. So 31 ranked big board player here on the stats here. He's got an 85.8 grade. Again, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns last year. He improved every year in the SEC. So he's a guy that can, I think he can hold down the #1 receiver for us. But let's get back to this. Tyquan Thornton, speed wide receiver out of Baylor, 6'2", 181. And then there's your RAS score of 9.77. He's got 61 catches, almost 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns last year, second team all Big 12. The Baylor wide receiver has natural hands and good build-up speed to challenge cornerbacks vertically. He eats up grass with long strides and showcases strong hands when he finishes catches through contact. So you're talking about a little bit undersized guy. Got the height, but he's got a little bit skinnier, kind of in the MVS mold. So we're talking about a guy here. I think he ran a 4.28. Let me double check this here. Tyquan Thornton. Let's actually look at some of his grades here for you guys from PFF. They have a ranking of 181. Not great. 82.9 though, almost as good as Treylon Burks. So this is a guy here that I think a lot of people have him 3rd, 4th round, sometimes later. This is kind of a steal. I think if the Packers wanted to wait and they needed a field stretcher, Matt LaFleur's gone on the record to say we need a guy that can take the top off of defense. Well, Tyquan Thornton, potentially a guy that could do some work for that. So if you guys don't know his game, go to YouTube. After this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. But check out Tyquan Thornton. He could be a really fun vertical piece. And I actually think he would complement Treylon Burks really well, because Burks is best doing, horizontal crossing slants and things like that, working in the middle of the field so he can get vertical. But you can send Tyquan Thornton vertical to kind of clear out the safeties and whatnot. So I like Thornton. I like Burks. And now we're going to get to another wide receiver. Again, the Packers have had official visits with these guys. George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. We're talking 6'3", 195, an RAS of 9.33. So we love the athleticism here out of George. 2021, he did get hurt at the end of, I believe it was, or he got hurt in training camp of 2021. 5 catches, only 107 yards, only played in 4 games with an ACL injury. So he's a year removed from an ACL injury. Glad to see that he was able to come back and win a championship here with Georgia. The report here is Pickens is a long wide receiver with a huge catch radius that does an excellent job of climbing the ladder to attack the ball at its highest point. The Packers coaching staff will love him because he gets after it as a blocker. So Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, a lot of those dirty work kind of players. Let's go ahead and take a look here at what Pickens has to offer from a score here. PFF has him as the 57th player on the big board here. Some highlights here, 135 yards on 7 catches and a touchdown against Cincinnati in the Peach Bowl, 52-yard catch against Alabama in the national championship. So props to him. He was able to come back after that injury, and they have a low grade on him, 73.5. I'm not sure why. He didn't really show that much in college to be a dominant receiver, but Georgia wide receivers, man, they're not asked to do that much. That is a running school. We know that Georgia is all about defense and running the football. And George Pickens sometimes gets lost on the tape here, but you're talking about a really lean, athletic outside wide receiver that can go do some things. If I watch his tape, he reminds me of an outside receiver, kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember Martavis Bryant. He can do some Calvin Johnson type things, just some big-bodied vertical receiver stuff outside. So to draft a George Pickens, you probably got to take him at 28 overall. I doubt he makes it to the Packers, who pick at where in round 2 they pick at 53 and 59. I doubt Pickens makes it here, especially there's a lot of buzz that he's potentially up in here in the Bears, the Texans, the Jets range. A lot of early 2nd round buzz for George Pickens, but I like what I see. And let's keep it moving. Velus Jones Jr., Tennessee wide receiver, the 4th wide receiver on the list here, 5'11", 204 yards, 9.05 RAS. So again, Burks didn't get the high score at the RAS, but Velus Jones Jr., another one of those guys here, over 9 total RAS points. 62 catches last year, 807 yards, 7 touchdowns, and here is why the Packers like him. 628 kick return yards, 272 punt return yards. As a day 3 prospect, Jones could carve out a role immediately for Green Bay as a return man. He'd also be able to play on coverage units. The Packers need to get better on special teams, and Jones could play a vital role in helping turn that unit around. On the offensive side of the ball, Jones could thrive as a weapon on screens and targets closer to the line of scrimmage. With his ability to create after the catch, he could add an extra dimension to Green Bay's offense. Really interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, as Packer fans, if you guys remember that one season where we picked up Tyler Ervin, and he put some juice into our offense on some backfield stuff and some quick screens and getting him the ball quickly, kind of a quick horizontal receiver. But he also gave us a tremendous boost to our special teams and got us some extra yards on punts and kicks. Velus Jones could be a guy here. And if you guys haven't seen my Sammy Watkins video, with the Packers adding Sammy Watkins, we have Sammy, we have Lazard, we have Cobb, and Amari Rodgers. So we're entering the season with 4 receivers on the roster. I think we have room for 2, maybe 3 wide receivers to be drafted. So Velus Jones, because he's a punt guy, he's a kick return guy, he could maybe, say the Packers go ahead and they draft Treylon Burks or Pickens. You get one of those guys. You can't have both. You can have one big receiver. So take your guy, Burks or Pickens. You can get the Tyquan Thornton to stretch the field, and then you can add this kind of punt special teams guy, little quick ball movements in the backfield, get him in motion. Velus Jones Jr. They have a 76.2 grade on him, and again, didn't do much his first 2 seasons with Tennessee, but last year really flourished. I like that he can play the slot too. So this is a fun receiver here that I think could really help the Packers in a multitude of ways. So let's get to another position here. Defensive line, Eric Johnson, Missouri State. We're talking 6'4", 300 pounds, a 9.15 RAS. So I'm all about, we can get athletic big men from SEC to help our run defense and rush the passer. I'm into it. 43 tackles last year, 1.5 sacks, 6.5 for loss, 2 blocked extra points. Second team all conference selection. So they say his report is coming soon, but the PFF grade, again, defensive lineman here, Missouri State, Eric Johnson. Let's see what we got from the PFF grade. And they don't even have him in there. Defensive lineman Eric Johnson. Let me see if I can find him. Wow, they actually don't even have him in their system. So interesting. I'm not sure where his average draft position is going to be. Let's actually take a peek at this. Eric Johnson has a visit with the Bears. Don't like that. Let's see what this is. This is a Bears article. So if you're a Packer fan watching this, don't yell at me. We're just trying to see where his draft capital might find him. The Bears are looking at a lot of the prospects the Packers are. So George Pickens and whatnot. But anyways, I'm not sure. The Steelers here have an article on Eric Johnson. I'm really not sure where. I'm really surprised that PFF didn't have anything on him, especially with the guy that had that good RAS score. So I'm not sure where we expect to see him go. This is a really good article, though. Steelers Depot put this out there. So if you guys want to read into this, go ahead and do that. But let's keep it moving. A safety. Now, I've seen a lot of Packer fans want a third safety. We don't really have depth at that position, or maybe we can get a guy that can kind of play some slot nickel or something like that, or even play just some secondary role. Tariq Carpenter, Georgia Tech, 6'3", 230, a nice RAS of 8.9. Last year, 40 tackles, 1 for loss, 3 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble in 12 games. The report is likely sub-package linebacker at the next level. Vast special teams experience, tested well at the Pro Day, Senior Bowl invite, played in over 50 games at Georgia Tech. So you're talking about a guy here who's kind of big for a safety, 6'3", 230. That is a big hitting safety. So I'd like to see some of his hits. But as a PFF grade here, Tariq, where'd it go? Not even showing up on here either. So PFF, man, I'm going to add Carpenter to the name here, and they're still not giving me a grade on him. So Tariq Carpenter, you're talking about a guy that can maybe play special teams, a guy that could be a linebacker on some plays and some coverage linebacking things that can cover tight ends and some of the bigger players here. So Tariq Carpenter, a day 3 guy, I'm assuming. Another wide receiver for you guys, Samori Toure out of Nebraska, 6'0", 191, 8.3 RAS. Nice season last year, almost 900 yards, 5 TDs. 5 100-yard receiving games, an All-American receiver at Montana who produced a lot of big plays during only season at Nebraska. Good speed and change of direction ability, kick return experience, older prospect after spending 6 years in college, turned 24 in March, possible priority free agent signing. So this might be a camp body here, Nebraska wide receiver. And here's probably the most important one, Devonte Wyatt. So to me, this is the Packers, one of their first round picks. It's going to be Devonte Wyatt and one of those receivers, Treylon Burks or George Pickens. But here we go. Devonte Wyatt from Georgia, 6'3", 304, RAS of 9.56, 7 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. And again, first team all SEC selection on one of the best defenses of recent memory in college football. A twitchy big man with elite athleticism. 3-down disruptor, can stand the field on 3rd down and pressure the QB. Played multiple spots along the D-line in Georgia's scheme. Explosive off the ball, and his motor always runs hot. So I like Devonte Wyatt. I know PFF's got him in their system, so let me show you what their grade is on him. He is the 17th ranked player on their board. A grade of 90. So this is an instant starter for us. Last year, he played primarily in the B gap, but again, you see he can play over the tackle. You know, he can play A gap. He can do some outside stuff here too. It looked like he was more versatile when he first got to Georgia. But man, we're probably not looking at a lot of sacks here, but you're talking about a guy, especially with the Packers depth chart. Let me show you. You're probably talking about a guy that can pressure Dean Lowry or Jaron Reed to get their starting role in training camp. So I view him as a guy that can come in and just be a package player right away. If he can command a 3-down role, that's great. We can bring in Dean Lowry or Jaron Reed as situational players. But I think bolstering this, getting Kenny Clark a wingman. We got to get him a wingman. Let's get him a Georgia big guy, Devonte Wyatt. I'm all for it. Let me know what you guys think. The next player, really fun player. This is the guy that I've actually, if you watch my mock videos, we've mocked him to the Packers. Abraham Lucs, offensive tackle, Washington State, 6'6", 315, 9.5 RAS for a big man. We want athletic big men. Talk about David Bakhtiari, super athletic. 9 pressures allowed, over 477 pass blocking snaps. Unbelievable. A 4-year starter at right tackle and 2-time team captain. Highly experienced and proficient pass blocking coming from a pass-happy offense. Plus athleticism with elite agility testing numbers. Looks the part with excellent length. Now, PFF, when I've done my mock drafts using PFF, they end up allowing him to flirt into the 2nd round. So I think this is one of our 2nd round picks. Now, again, we have pick number 52, 53, and 59. I think Abraham Lucs is probably one of those guys that we take in the 2nd round. And just looking at his stuff here, he's got the 50th rank on the big board. Almost an 80 grade overall here. He's been a right tackle his entire career here. Didn't play much in 2022. I'm not sure that it was just a shortened season with COVID and whatnot. But primarily lining up as a right tackle, only allowed 4 sacks, none last year. Just a really rock solid right tackle prospect. And looking at the Packers depth chart, where does he slide in? They're putting Elgton Jenkins here at right tackle. I'm not sure I like that. We could move Elgton back to the left side to be his true best position left guard. That would allow John Runyon to be the backup guard, and we could potentially get us a starting right tackle. So I'm all for that. Abraham Lucs, go and look into him. Guess what? Another receiver for you guys. Christian Watson, North Dakota State, getting a lot of buzz as a late 1st-round player. Tested amazingly well at the combine. A perfect 10.0 RAS score. 6'4", 208. 43 catches, 801 yards, 7 TDs, 1st team all-conference, 2nd team all-American, a 3-year starter at receiver with experience at running back and kick returner. So I like the athleticism. Big-time deep threat and one of the best athletes ever at the wide receiver position. Dominant player at North Dakota State in the Senior Bowl, averaged 20 yards per catch, returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns, had some drop issues. So I'm intrigued here. Christian Watson, let's go take a look at his PFF grade. He's rising really, really fast. If we look at his grades, you're talking again 74th ranking here. His grade though higher than Treylon Burks, higher than some of the other receivers we looked at tonight. 87.8 grade overall. And man, you're talking about a receiver here, primarily an outside wide receiver. Did play some slot though. Not from a big school, so we're not gonna expect big passing stats here. But you're talking about a guy that scored an off the charts 10.0 perfect RAS score. Dominated the combine, was the belle of the ball there at the combine. Christian Watson, get to know him. Looks like we got a couple more guys here. Offensive tackle Luke Goedeke. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, from Central Michigan. 6'5", 312. He didn't test enough at the combine with a hamstring. He allowed 7 pressures last year, 0 sacks on 425 pass blocking snaps among PFF's top graded run blocking offensive linemen. Love that. First team all conference there in Central Michigan. The Wisconsin native and former tight end, so we got some athleticism here. Started 24 games at right tackle for Central Michigan. Might have to transition to inside guard at the next level. Short arms, lack of length. Didn't test pre-draft due to hamstring injury. High upside as a run blocker. Potential future starter. That's music to my ears. I haven't looked into Luke Goedeke here yet. ADP of about 100 with PFF. Again, 6'5", 312. But a steady run blocker who projects likely as a guard. So you could potentially get an Abraham Lucs and a guard here. 92.2 grade. I'm all for this here as the Packers' 3rd round pick. So I'm really liking this. Plays right tackle, but again, his short arms, I think he can be a guard at the next level and a starting guard at that one. And then here we go. We have some other guys that are gaining some interest. This will end the video here. So just some rapid fire guys here. Gregory Jr., cornerback from Wichita Baptist. Don't even know how to say that word. Running back Isaiah Spiller, Texas A&M. You guys should know that. That's a virtual visit. This is a potential visit for Greg Jr. Offensive lineman Jamare Sawyer out of Georgia, virtual visit. Offensive line or outside linebacker Alex Wright out of UAB. That's a virtual visit. Jatire Carter, Southern offensive tackle here. That's a meeting. And Wisconsin's local pro day, Jake Ferguson, Logan Bruss, Scott Nelson, and Kendrick Pryor. So that was a mouthful. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Final thoughts. Packers are drafting some receivers, guys. I'm going to do a mock draft after this video. So I'm going to link that probably with the Sammy Watkins video. But dudes, we are going to have a hell of a draft in 2 weeks. I'm super excited. Pick number 22 and 28. Let's get Devonte Wyatt and your favorite receiver. At 53 and 59, I like Abraham Lucs, that right tackle. And then go ahead and draft your favorite receiver, John Mechie, or maybe another linebacker. I'm not really sure. Round 3, though, I'm starting to like this Goedeke guy to potentially be a guard for us. Let's continue to just draft defense. And then I think the day 3 guys, that safety out of Georgia Tech that can play linebacker. There's going to be a bunch of other guys there that we like. So let's have fun. Again, thank you guys so much for your time in this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I'm starting to put up more Packer content. So if you guys like what I'm putting down, please subscribe, help me grow this channel. A lot of fun. Again, thank you guys so much for your time. We'll see you in a future video. Peace.